Hello there, Chem students. This is Mrs. Pugh. This is Unit 2, recording number 2 on measurement. Now consider two students who have recorded the mass of an object. And you can see there that student number 1 has recorded as the mass 1.964 for his first measurement, and the second time around 1.978 grams. Now another student measured the same object and said, no, it's 2.00 grams, and second measurement is 2.02 grams. Well, before we can answer the question, which one was more accurate and which one was more precise, we need to know that the true value of that measured object is for its mass. And I'm going to tell you that the true value for the measured object is 2.000 grams. So right at 2 grams. So if that's true, then who is more accurate? Who is closer to the true value? Well, that would be student number 2, because they got 2.00 and 2.02. So the first one is right on, the second one is off by 0.02. So we would say the true value, who is the most accurate? It would be student 2. So the second question is who measured the most precise? And the most precise is the one that gets the two measurements that are closest to each other. So if you're looking at student number 1 here, the difference between their values, hold on, I wanted to make an annotation of this, not just give you the answer. Let's go ahead and subtract these two values from one another. The difference between them would be 0.0 1, 4. That would be subtracting 1.978 minus 1.964. So the difference is 0.014. If I was going to find the difference between these two values and seeing how close they are, they're actually 0.02 apart. And so the difference between them is greater than the difference between this one. So we would actually say that student 1 was more precise because their measurements were closer together. Student number 2 is more accurate but less precise because their measurements had a greater difference between the two of them. When doing measurements, you need to know a little something about your measurement tool. Whether it be a ruler or a graduated cylinder or a thermometer, knowing what each of the markings are, what you're going to measure, and what you're going to estimate. Now, how precise is the instrument? Before measuring, you have to understand how to read the instrument before you can record how accurate and precise in terms of your measurement you're going to be. To make sure that you understand what each marking represents. In other words, what place values do you know for certain, and which place values are an estimation? When you're working with a ruler, you always measure objects to 1 decimal place beyond the smallest marking on the ruler. So in this case, you have centimeters, so you could measure, for example, something that has a length of, and I'm going to change colors here, and we're going to go ahead and say that right here is the length of an object. Hold on one second, go back. It's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to do it right here instead because I was trying to go right in between those two numbers and I can't seem to get that to go. I'm going to erase, start over. And I'm going to make the measurement be, there we go, that's what I had meant to do. So we know for sure that one of the values for this would be that it is 1 centimeter. So I'm going to write that right here. We know how many millimeters it is beyond that 1 centimeter because we can say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters or millimeters past the centimeter mark. So I can say that that's 1.5 centimeters. And then notice that that line is not exactly on the 0.5. But I can't tell exactly, is that 1.55 or would the next one be 0.56? So this last measurement is going to be your estimated value. And from the way I'm looking at it, I'm going to say that it's approximately right in between. So my estimated value for this would be 1.55 centimeters. Now keep in mind, this is not something students are used to doing. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, of adding what you know for sure and then your estimated value. So let me give another example of this. Wonder if it did happen to be right on one of the lines. And so for this time, I'm going to go ahead and mark it in a blue color. And I'm going to say that the item that we're measuring is this long. And so it's right on that line. What would you put as your measurement for that? Well, you know for sure that it's 2 centimeters. You know for sure that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters. So I'm going to put that it's 2.5. And now here's where you have to add an estimated value. The next value for this would be 2.50 millimeters because it's really just on that line. If you happen to say 2.51, that would be fine, but our estimated values are very close to each other and very similar to one another. So make sure you always measure to 1 decimal place beyond the smallest marking on the ruler. The smallest marking on the ruler is a millimeter, so you go 1 beyond that to 1/100th of a millimeter. So that's what you're always going to measure to with a ruler.